Hello, my name is Jennifer Dixon, and today we are going to talk about a pose that I love to do for my low back. When I'm having some low back tension and things like that, usually what is recommended is that you stop doing everything. You know, the Western medicine doctors say, like, rest it and all that kind of stuff. I found for me personally, that is kind of what I don't need to do, because the more that I rest, the less my abdominal muscles are working, and the weaker your abdominal muscles are, then the more your back has to work. So it's this vicious cycle. So I generally, even if my back is inflamed, I still try to do something, like even if it's as little as like a plank pose or laying down flat on the back and engaging my core. And then once I've gotten my core warmed up, that's when I start to work on things to help relax the muscles all around the hips, so that the hips will start to relax. And usually that can help provide, between my muscles being a little stronger in my abdominals and muscles around my hips start to have a little bit more mobility, I usually have a little bit more space. So oftentimes, all over the internet, you're going to find hip openers where we're externally rotating the hips. So whether it's cobbler's pose or even the Janu Shirshasana pose, which we have on this YouTube channel. But today I want to talk to you about an internal rotation of the hips. We are often very focused on getting our feet and knees to flare out, which is great. It's definitely necessary. A lot of times people have a hard time in this easy seat position, so that's where you need the external rotation. But guess what? We also need to internally rotate it as well. And in restorative classes, there's a pose called deer, where you're kind of laying over a pillow, twisting like this. But what we're going to do is a little more, it's still a yin type pose. So it's still, you're going to hang out in this pose for a while, but it's not quite as just laying down and relaxing as a deer pose in restorative. So what you do is, I'm going to demonstrate with my left leg first. You take your left leg out in front of you and you try to make that left shin to be parallel to the front of your mat. This is an external rotation on that left hip. So you're kind of in a double whammy, right? So what we want to do with the right hip and the right knee is we want to bring that ankle back. So where the ankle's kind of in line with the hip. And that's internally rotating that right hip. So it's kind of like we're making half of a pinwheel, right? So if you notice, I just slid my left shin out ever so slightly, because I'm working to get that 90-degree angle from the ankle knee connection to the knee hip connection. And then I want to have that same 90-degree angle from my hip knee to knee ankle in the right. So I need to slide that right ankle out. Now this right here could be perfect for you. Like, I am actually feeling a lot of stretch here along this hip area. I have really open hips externally, but I struggle with an internal hip rotation. So this is really, really great for me to help get some mobility along the hips when I'm starting to feel tightness. And in fact, I'm starting to be so open externally, it's tightening up when I'm trying to go internal. So this is a really great posture, especially if you've been practicing yoga for a while and you've been practicing those external hip rotations. Just hanging out right here, this is, you're going to start to feel something. If you want to juice it up a little bit, you can do two things. You can turn away from the hip, or you can turn into the hip. I'm going to demonstrate away first. My right hand and left hand both turn towards the left. If you notice, my spine is still straight. I've got kind of spider tip fingers. I don't like to be super flat on my palms unless I have to be, because that could be sort of challenging for the wrist. And I'm just twisting away from the body. You can make this a little bit more intense if you want, and look over the left shoulder at the left corner of your eyes. Remember to keep your belly strong, chest is up, shoulders are down and away from the ears. You'll feel a really nice stretch along this hip, and I actually even feel it along the psoas and obliques of my right side. If you got very tight hips on the external rotation, you're also going to feel this along the left side of your body as well. Let me go ahead and show you what happens when we twist into it. So I have a harder time twisting into it. I'm going to bring my right hand behind me, and my left hand's either going to go on the mat in between my knees, or I'm reaching for the outside of that right hip, really trying to twist into this. This is a really challenging posture for me, because I'm super tight on this part, my psoas and that whole, ooh, lordy, this is really tight. So twist towards that right knee, If you want, you can sit up straight while you gaze over those right shoulders, and you'll really feel a nice stretch along this right side body. You might actually feel a little more on the left side body as well in these left obliques and the left psoas. So to come out of it, you wind yourself out, and then maybe, since we've been sitting here for a few minutes, you pick that right leg up, woo, give it some love. I don't love to go straight from internal to external, those counterbalances right away without a little bit of love first. Maybe when I was a little bit younger that was possible, but now I need to love it a little bit. So let's go into the other side. I'm going to start out again with this nice external rotation of the right hip with the right shin parallel to the mat, the front of the mat. I know it's going to shift in a moment, but it's easier for me to start out this way with that parallel action. I just internally rotated my hip, brought my knee down to the mat, and so now I'm working that 90-degree angle from my hip to my knee. So I had to shimmy that foot back. And so now I've got 90-degree angle with my left hip to left knee, and then I have a 90-degree angle from my left knee to my left ankle. Now I'm going to have to shimmy that right ankle forward ever so slightly. This 90-degree angle between my right hip and right knee, and then right knee and right ankle. Now, if you notice, I'm having a little more difficulty sitting up straight. This is my tighter side, which is why I always like to do it last, because I normally don't spend as much time on it. Remember, the things that we don't love to do are the things that we should probably do the most. So we're internally rotating this left hip, externally rotating the right hip. If your hips are really tight, your right knee might not be all the way down to the mat. That's okay. You can stay here and breathe. Remember, chest is proud. You're up, trying to breathe, trying to maybe smile. I always hate it when they tell me to smile if I'm like, no, I don't want to smile. Now let me demonstrate. We're going to twist away from it. So both hands come to the outside of that right hip, shimmying that right hand back a little bit more, trying to keep your chest proud. Gaze over those right shoulders, out the right corner of the eye. Remember, belly stays in. It's real easy to just let it all go. And when you let it all go, your back has to take up the slack, which is never a good idea. So keep that belly in. Gaze out the right eyeballs, right side of your eyeballs, and breathe. This to me is a little bit easier than when we twist into it. So we're going to come back to center, maybe a deep breath, and then we're going to twist. Right hand comes in between the knees, left hand comes behind your body. And you say a little prayer and you breathe and you twist into it. Now don't go to where you can't breathe. If you can't breathe, then you've gone too far and you need to back out of this. So try to keep your spine up straight, and then you try to gaze over your left shoulder, maybe out of the left corner of your eyes. This is a super great opening for your hips. You're externally rotating that right side. You're internally rotating that left side. Maybe you can give that left hip some love. I feel this all along the sacrum, all along the top part of my right hip, all through these top muscles of my left thigh without getting too anatomical. All right, let's come back to center. Bring that left foot up. Maybe help by holding that left knee into your chest. Again, I don't love going straight from internal to external. It's a little bit too much. So maybe you rub that hip and then you wiggle it out. And voila, we have now internally rotated both hips. You should feel maybe a little bit more happiness. In fact, I feel like my hips want to go open even more to the outside after I've done some internal rotation. My hips are like, yay, thank you. So let's open up outside. So again, that was a deer pose for you. I sometimes call it like a half pinwheel pose because we are internally rotating the one hip, externally rotating the other. It's a super great, awesome stretch if you are experiencing some low back pain, especially if it's associated with some tightness along the hips, which sometimes, a lot of times, back pain can be associated with that. Thanks again for watching. My name is Jennifer Dixon with Thrive Yoga and Wellness. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, and I can't wait to see you inside our online community, Thrive Online, or inside the studio located in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Take care. Bye-bye.